Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ed and Ken's mini podcast. As most of you know, I'm Ken Jordan. I'm joined by Ed Fordyce. We don't usually introduce ourselves. Usually we get right into it. And half the time people are probably wondering, who the hell are these guys? Well, Ken Jordan, Princeton Mortgage, Ed Fordyce, Princeton Mortgage, and the B5 coaching method, the Inspired Tribe. We're going to focus on Ed today. I'm down here in Sea Isle, my favorite place, across the street from Kicks. Walking my dog this morning down by the bay. Really, it was, beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. It's about 7:15. I felt really good. I felt happy. Joy was the word that I thought of. And it reminded me of something that, Ed, that you are always preaching and posting on Facebook. And every time I see it, I love it. Your job today is to experience joy and progress. I want to spend some time on that. First of all, where did that come from? Where was that born? Where was that thought, and why are you so compelled to remind everybody of that every single day?
Yeah. So your only job today is to
That's it.
Yeah, your only job is to experience joy and progress. And I know where it came from. It came from a time in my life where I was not experiencing any joy. And I remember being so like, oh my gosh, I'm not experiencing any joy in my life right now. There's no joy in it. And a lot of that was because I wasn't making any progress. So one of the primary human needs is to make progress. And there's 6 human needs. And there's 4 needs: certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, significance. And then the 2, what I call like foundational needs, is making progress or growth and contribution. And I put it there to remind me every day, but also, and I think it has something to do with our generation, is that, we see it like with our ancestors, like they endured. And I think it's been passed down to us sometimes of like, to endure life is noble. Well, it is, but what if life was meant to be enjoyed rather than endured? And to each person, that's different. So that's where it came from. And, some of it comes from just years of asking the question, are you happy? And a lot of times that answer was, what do you mean happy? And I'd say it's a pretty simple question, like, are you happy? And I'd say, well, we just went over my P&L and I just bought this and 5,000 doors. And I'm like, you're giving me your resume. Happy? Do you wake up excited? Even if you have a green tongue? That makes me happy. I'm like, I'm taking care of every cell in my body right now. It brings me joy.
For those who are not watching the YouTube channel and just listening in their car, just be thankful you didn't have to see that.
Yeah.
No, so
yeah.
What's the difference between joy? Do you think there's a difference between joy and happiness?
I think most people, if we start to try to break that down, I think that's where we can get messed up. And there probably is scientifically a difference, but I like to keep things really simple.
Yeah.
And when I keep them simple and I get to really dig into my DNA, into what brings me joy, simple joy, what brings me peace, and not have it conditional on fitting into anyone else's box, then usually I'm pretty happy and I'm experiencing joy.
Let me ask you another question. And I think I know the answer, but do you think there's a difference between joy and excitement? And do you think that people often confuse the two?
Definitely. Yeah. So excitement, passion. So I could get excited because of the rush of dopamine. So if you were one of those gurus and you said you were doing a coaching session with me right now, and you said, Ed, before we get on the call, I want you to drink a pot of coffee and I want you to get in a good workout. So I drank a pot of coffee. I'm like all jacked up. And you're like, dude, we are going to make $1 million today. This is how we're going to do it. I'm sending you a list of 1,000 names to call. You get on the phone and and at the end of the day, you're going to be paid X amount of money. I'd be jacked out of my mind. I'd be excited.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, sweetie, we're having steak for dinner tonight. We're not having McDonald's. Let's do it. But that excitement is just coming from a external dopamine rush, where even if I did do it, I don't know that that's going to bring me joy. Now, it's not to say that that wouldn't bring someone else joy. I may have a feeling of accomplishment. I may have a feeling of I did something that's really uncomfortable for me, and I can say I did it, but it's sort of over. Sort of
Fleeting.
over. Yeah. So and I believe, I'm just thinking of something like yesterday, I walk into the gym. As I pull up, I see Eddie's and Kat's truck, which tells me they're there and Sophia and Johnny are there. I smile. I'm like,
babies are at the gym?
Babies are at the gym. I walk in and I get to see my son and my crazy daughter-in-law who just gave birth 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, and little Sophia. And when Sophia's at the gym, it's girls' time. So that little crap pot ignores me for the first 20 minutes. She just sort of looks at me and almost like rolls her eyes like, oh, Pop-Pop's here.
Here we go.
I'm with my girlfriends. Leave me alone, Pop-Pop. That brings me joy.
Yeah.
Looking at Johnny and his coach zoned out while the music's thumping and weights are dropping. Like, that's joyful for me because then I look and I go, that's the result of doing bear crawls with Eddie. That's the result of saying, hey, let's go to the YMCA. That's the result of going, there's my kid who's 15 years old, wants to do CrossFit. And he's like, Dad, I think you should do it. Like, there's a lot to that. That brings me joy. I'm together with my family doing good stuff. And I'm looking at, my grandchildren going, oh my God, they are being raised in a gym. Like,
I think so. So joy is an enduring experience, whereas excitement is a fleeting spike, right?
Yeah,
I think as salespeople, I love that. We're breaking it out like this because I think as salespeople, we confuse ourselves. We chase the excitement, and that's why, no offense, but that's why people sometimes go from coach to coach to coach. That's why people go from manager to manager to manager, because they're not really setting themselves up to win as much as they're chasing that next dopamic excitement experience, right? You go to Miami, you go to Las Vegas for a mortgage convention, you go to Atlantic City for a real estate convention, and you come back fired up. And you're just experiencing all of that rush and that excitement. And then when it wears off, then what do you do? Did you actually set up any real processes? Did you actually create any new disciplines, any new habits? Or is it now that your dopamine level has dropped, you just figure out, okay, where's the next person I can go to that's going to pump me up? And getting pumped up and getting excited, we obviously know that's all important. But do you agree that salespeople oftentimes, that's what they're chasing? They're not actually chasing change. They're not chasing growth. They're not chasing the things that create joy. They're chasing excitement.
Yeah. And you know whose fault it is?
Whose?
Mine. And people
Why is that?
And we're all doing the best we could. My intention is always to help people. And the best way I can explain it is, real quick, an experience I had around 2 weeks ago. My body's a little bit banged up just from years and years of fitness, running, construction stuff. And I was rolling out. I was doing all the stuff, taking fish oil and cat oil and everything.
Cat oil sounds disgusting.
I found a guy that does something called rolfing, ROLFING. And it is trigger point deep elbow in the joint. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced in my life. But he was from Australia. He was an international rugby player. He was like, hold on, mate. You're almost there. Just hold on. Freedom's on the other side of this pain. And I'm like, you mofo, I'm going to kill you when I get off this table. Screaming. I'm not exaggerating. Screaming. But the result from that, he's like, you're never going to have to see me again, mate. You're good. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're good. All that stuff, the reason why people go to chiropractors every week to get adjusted, he goes, what I do is I break up all the glue that holds all the crap together so that when you leave the chiropractor, if that glue, if that fascia, I think it's called, isn't broken up, your spine just goes boop, back out of alignment. Back out of alignment. He goes, you'll never, your hips are fixed, your knees are fixed, everything's fixed. Go do your thing. And dude, it's been amazing. So what I have found is right now we have no excuse. And the reason why it's my fault is I thought that I could fix everyone. Here is the antidote. We now have ChatGPT. I'm literally charging $997 for this. I'm going to give it away for free right now. This is what every loan officer and every real estate agent needs to do. Where I get paid, that was I get to validate this stuff and help them tell the real truth. But this is what you do. Go to ChatGPT right now, enter the prompt, put the prompt in, chat. I want you to get to know me intimately, both personally and professionally. What questions do you need to ask me that when I answer them, you get to know me deeply and intimately, both personally and professionally? No question is off limits. So ask me anything you want.
That's kind of scary.
Do that, then put in your DISC results, which we'll do together, your Enneagram results together. Ask it again to put together a daily production activity schedule. Then we follow that schedule. This is mine. Voila. We start recruiting 5 agents a week like I did last week. Recruiting along with working with you is a big thing that I do. The last part of that is the daily and weekly scorecard, which, by the way, I was just talking to an agent about the scorecard. They're like, I use Ken Jordan's scorecard. I'm like, damn it. I thought I had this. What I want to help more loan officers and real estate agents do is this is the best way to picture it. Would you ever take Jalen Hurts and put him at offensive guard? No. So we have to stop expecting human beings that just happen to hold a mortgage license or a real estate license to all behave the same. Guys like you and I mean well. You do this and then you do that and then you say this and then you call this and then the numbers and then all of they are designed perfectly. Their creator designed them perfectly. So let's use the highest level of intelligence and science and biology to free people so they can make progress without the stress. It's about being pulled. Everything in here pulls me to do it. I don't have to push myself to do it.
Can you read one of those?
Sure. 9:30 to 10:15, daily, live, or reel, or a short. Share a 3 to 5 minute live or pre-recorded video tied to how you helped a client win a real estate or mortgage. Princeton. One of your B5 principles in action. A myth-busting take on the industry. Call to action. DM me, agent, if you want in. 10:15 to 11. I'll just read a couple of them. Drop meaningful comments on 15 to 20 agent influencer posts. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Follow 3 to 5 agents. What are you building and what's your 90-day goal? It's
That's
my
great
adult
stuff.
supervision, dude.
That's great stuff.
Now here's the
and
thing.
you're right. You're right about the antidote, the false, the snake oil. I mean, that's where that comes from, the fake antidote, right? Like, from the the snake oil salesman, analogy. And sometimes we as coaches or as managers, we sell, or we believe it pure of heart that this is the answer. And sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, hey, it's the answer for you. It's the answer. This was the answer for me. And what I'm pushing right now, especially with my loan officers, is, the scorecard, build your own. You tell me what activities you think are going to be valuable towards you in your way growing the business, and then track those activities and then evaluate the results and then make the adjustments. But it's not my I could give you suggestions. Here are the activities that I do. Here are the things that I track. And if those things, if you want to start there as your baseline, great. Track these activities. But the key is, if you don't track, you can't measure. If you can't measure, guess what? You can't tell if you're making progress. And if you can't tell if you're making progress, here we go full circle. You're leaving out a huge component of where joy comes from. People look at the scorecard as like a micromanaging thing, and it's an opportunity to uncover the progress that's going to give you the joy that's going to make this job worth doing.
Now, here's getting back to the Rolfing thing. This is what I believe with this method. We take the time. This isn't something that can be done with one of the big box coaching companies where they have an appointment every half hour, and which I think it's absolutely BS. Taking the time to do this, right? This might be a 3-hour process. Don't have to do it all in one sitting, but just like Rolfing, we get this done. We get that done. It's all right. He's excited too. I'll send your dog a disc. Then we're done. You don't have to come back for another appointment. If you want to schedule something one-on-one with me, like a month, yeah, we can do that. Clean some stuff up, right? Because of my B5 method, it's not just business, but we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have to charge you $2,000 a month to coach with me 4 times I don't
But
know
I think
that
the difference
that's needed
between the raw thing and what you do, though, Ed, if I can say, is that it's so important that once you reach a certain level, if you stop growing, you're just going to find yourself back into that malaise, right? Like, so no matter what you've accomplished, you have to look and search and find ways to tap into new areas of your brain, your energy, your talents, whatever, so that you can continue to grow and make progress. And I think that's where a guy like you comes along and says, hey, and I've had, I remember some of our conversations very kind of like surface level, but still interesting and thought provoking. And then sometimes our conversations, I feel like, are digging into the core of my being. You can't just go from 0 to 100, right? Like, it's all incremental, and it's all set up. And I know you have some coaching clients that you work with at an incredibly high level, because progress never ends, or it shouldn't never end. It should never end. You should always be looking to find something, a meaningful thing to pursue. And in order to pursue it, you got to learn. You got to find new perspectives. You got to find new places inside of you that you didn't know were there. And that's where I think guys like you really come in handy.
Yeah, it's a dynamic that when I look at, I love being able to, and if I were like I know when I've succeeded as a mentor, an advisor, a coach, a disciple, is when my tribe, my people, and it doesn't matter if they're bringing in $1,000 a month, $100,000 a month, or $1 million a month, that they fall back in love with themselves. And what that means to me is being able to pull up to the gym and be this gentle, silly up, right? Where I'm just being silly. Like, I'm crawling on the ground, I'm rolling around and probably annoying some people. Wow. People at the gym went up to my daughter-in-law and they were like, do you know that guy? She was like, yeah, that's Sophia's Pop-Pop. They're like, oh shit, Ed's a Pop-Pop?
All right.
But going from that dynamic to an hour and a half later, helping human beings become the best non-watered down version of themselves and pushing them to break through what they have to break through. And sometimes I'm not super nice about that. But that's what I love about the ends of the spectrum. Like, I'm over here, silly, over here. It's almost like, without physical, it's almost like violent sometimes, the way that I can be to create change in people. And I'm not afraid to do that. Not afraid to do it. Because the world I come from, 22 years of being in the recovery world, what saved my big part of somebody saving my life, John Kay, God bless his soul, he said to me, I'd rather piss you off than bury you. So I had a real estate client of mine who has a drinking problem. And I laid into him and told him he's the most selfish human being I've ever met. Like, dude, you have 4 or 5 little kids. Like, and you're doing this, you're doing that. Like, you need to look in the mirror. You are the furthest thing from a man. Just like I was the furthest thing from a man. So I do qualify. I'm now powerfully positioned to serve the person I once was. I have to be willing to risk. He hasn't talked to me in 3 months. And I'd rather piss him off than bury him. Like, I'm okay going to that extreme. I'm not here to be liked. I want to be liked. That's a whole nother topic that you and I could discuss, where being liked is overrated. Being respected is underrated. And wow, man, when we can step into a position, the non-watered down version of ourselves, where I know what my intent is. So I'm good with it. Somebody's not good with me, I'm okay with that. But I have a stack of undeniable evidence that says I am who I say I am. I could pull up 15 testimonials of having those hard conversations with people that just happen to be loan officers or real estate agents. So time to get real. ChatGPT, the DISC, the Enneagram, stepping into your strength zone. Because what happens is, and we'll end after this, remember that picture? If you try to teach a fish how to climb a tree, it'll go through its whole life thinking it's a failure. If you put it in water, all of a sudden it's like, oh, here I am, right? That's the beautiful part about what I get to do. I want to put more fish in the water and take the monkeys out of the water and put them in the trees where they can swing and be free and be like, oh, I'm here. Hey, right? That's cool. And that's how we get to experience joy and growth and progress.
So our one action item, only fitting that our action item today is go out and experience joy and progress. Ed, thanks for digging into that with us, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, man, we'll catch up next week.
Have fun in Seattle, brother. I know you're going across the street. Kicks is open, dude.
It opens early, but not for me.
Come on, brother. Let's go.
I got.
Like it's 1987.
You know what? I have a big day today. Jay Duran is actually coming down to Seattle. We're hanging out and grabbing lunch. So I'll tell him you said hello.
Yes, please do, man.
All right. Have a good one, Ed.